Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rob's Little Blue Book. And I'm really excited about tonight, actually. This recipe we're doing tonight, this dish we're doing tonight, to me hits all of the points that I wanted to sort of emphasize in this whole streaming thing. The dish we're doing tonight is Cacio E Pepe. It's super simple. There's only 3 ingredients. It's all about technique, and it's a technique that you can expand into several other pasta dishes, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But really thrilled to be doing this one for you guys. We are going to start with a cocktail, as always. Tonight we're going to do the Martinez cocktail, and this is a really old cocktail. First showed up in bartending manuals around 1880-ish, maybe mid-1880s. It predates the martini. Actually, this sort of evolved into the martini. And like all the cocktails of the era, its origins are shrouded in mystery. But it's a fun cocktail, and it's worth doing. So we're going to do it tonight. And I've got my... go over the ingredients. I got this for you guys. So we'll see how good your pause game is. But here is the Martinez list of ingredients. Hold that up for a sec. I wouldn't use like a super floral gin for this one. I'm going to use Dillon's. For a martini, I would use Hendrick's because I quite like it. But less botanicals in the gin is going to be better for this drink, I think. So we have gin. We are using sweet vermouth. Pretty straightforward. We're going to add a little bit of maraschino liqueur. And finally, a couple dashes of bitter, and I'll probably garnish it with a little bit of orange. So let's get this going, because haven't made one of these in a very long time. But after doing this stream for, 8 or 9 months now, every week, I'm running through my cocktail list pretty quick. So if anybody has a request or wants to see something we did in the past, or has a suggestion, I'd be thrilled to have it, because as I said, my sort of favorites and staples that we've kind of gone through already. So I'm happy to do something you guys want to see. I don't know if that was a screw top or what. And it's just like a 1/4 ounce of maraschino liqueur. And we want a couple of dashes. I'm using orange bitters here because I'm going to garnish with an orange. You could use Angostura bitters here as well, and garnish with a lemon, like a twist of lemon, which is also nice. If you're going to garnish with a twist of lemon, you can rim the glass. So if you garnish, I'm going to dump the... Well, let me actually mix the drink up first. I'll garnish in a sec. If you're going to garnish with a lemon, you kind of like squeeze it into... we do need to make more cherries, yes. So you squeeze the twist in and then sort of rub the rim of the glass with it, and then just chuck it. The orange one I squeeze in, but I like to have the orange peel in my drink. And chopsticks make very quiet cocktail stirring things for when you're doing streams. And then just strain into it. I would normally chill this glass. It's kind of like plates in the oven. You know, don't serve your hot food on cold plates, and don't serve cold drinks in a warm glass. However, I forgot. And we're going to take a little bit of orange here. A little bit more. And these ones you want to like give them a good, like the oils in the orange actually express pretty easily. So give this a good like twist and a muddle. Let's drop it in there. And that's the Martinez. Unlike a martini, this is like equal parts spirit vermouth. So I drink my martinis very dry. This will be interesting. And it's pretty sweet actually. Anyway, I'm enjoying it. This isn't something I drink a lot of. But if you want to blast from the past and sort of see how the martini and the Manhattan got its start, this is the way to go. Okay, let's talk ingredients for tonight. It's really important with this dish that you use the highest quality ingredients. You only have 3, and there's not a lot of room for error. And with the pasta especially, there's a reason to use really high quality pasta. This is the one time, like if you're gonna make spaghetti with meatballs, boxed pasta from the supermarket, it's gonna be okay. But for this dish, there's monitors I can see. For this dish, it's really important to have a really high quality dry pasta, and then we'll get into the reason for that in a little bit. But just keep that in mind. I have some spaghetti here, and okay, cheese. Oh, here, let me. Sorry. Here's the ingredients. Here's the recipe for tonight. Pasta, pepper, and cheese, and which actually brings me to another point. You would think, and one of the reasons you have a little blue book, so I've got a little blue book here, which you all know, but the reason you have a little blue book is not so much, it's partly to keep a record of ingredients and recipes, but also this is your idea source book. So even though Cacio E Pepe only has 3 ingredients, I still have it in here, right? Not because I'm going to forget. I'm not that old yet. Not because I'm going to forget what's in it, but because this is my go-to. When I'm trying to think of something I want to make, or I'm lacking inspiration, this is my go-to for inspiration. And just seeing it there will remind me what a fantastic dish it is. So your little blue book is more than just a list of recipes. Okay, for cheese, I'm gonna go to the ingredients cam here. For cheese, the traditional cheese is pecorino. And no reason not to use pecorino. It's a great cheese. I wouldn't use Parmesan for this. Pecorino has a more of a nutty flavor that really suits this dish. However, in this case, I'm using Comté, which is a French sheep's milk cheese. Partly because I just wanted to try it out. So we'll see how it goes. And then finally, star of the show here is pepper. And it turns out, actually in Toronto, good peppercorns are hard to find. Black pepper was originally cultivated, well, it's native to, I forget, southern India. Kerala. Plates are in the oven. Hey, Paul, how's it going? I'm just reviewing the ingredients for the thing. Plates are in the oven, thank you. And since you weren't here, I'll say real quick, the corollary to plates in the oven is when you're making a cocktail that's chilled. It makes sense sometimes to have a chilled glass, which I didn't do. Kerala. Indian state of Kerala, peppercorns cultivated there since the beginning of time. And in the Middle Ages with the spice trade, spread all over the world. So I have some, actually these are from Vietnam. So, Indian peppercorns, these are telecherry peppercorns. This is what you're most likely to find if you go, I think you can even get telecherry at like Loblaws. Like there's a PC Black Label peppercorn. But it's a really important part of this dish. So you're not going to use ground pepper. You're not going to use whatever peppercorns you bought in the no-name plastic bag in the supermarket. It's worth getting good peppercorns, which is actually pretty challenging in Toronto. I drove all over this week looking for peppercorns. So anyway, telecherry, good classic peppercorn, Indian, sort of like the OG peppercorn. If you can't get those, these ones, if you can't get those, you can't get these. These ones came from Vietnam, another place they obviously grow pepper. But the very best peppercorns, and I'm gonna go through these in a sec because I haven't even decided which one we're gonna use yet. The very best peppercorns come from, in my opinion, Cambodia. The Kampot black peppercorns. They look like that. My autofocus is struggling. There. These were almost eradicated by the Khmer Rouge, actually, because in the 70s, as well as killing a lot of the farmers completely, they also forced them all to grow food, so the pepper crops died out. and they only started recultivating them early 2000s, I guess. And these are fantastic peppercorns. And if you get a chance to get the red ones, so peppercorns are a berry, guys. They grow on a vine, and they dry them out. Red peppercorns are just they're pretty rare. They're peppercorns that sort of ripened on the vine before they picked them. So black peppercorns, obviously. If you can get red ones, they're not suitable for this dish, but they're wonderful to have. So which one are we going to use? Let's figure it out. So we're going to just do a taste test here and figure out which one we want to use. I'm going to start with, I'll start with the telecherry, the original peppercorn here. So, it's too hot. So that's a really like earthy flavor, packs some kick, but not too much. Not too much. Still gonna have a sip of beer before I take the next one. I think it's a really good basic peppercorn. I'm gonna save this guy for last, and we'll try these are from Vietnam. So a little bit less kick than the telecherry. Kind of the same earthy notes, actually. It's hard to tell the difference. I think the telecherry is a little bit hotter. But other than that, not much to choose between them. So if you see Vietnamese peppercorns, they seem to be just as tasty as the telecherries. But this is the one I'm looking forward to. These are my favorites. They even look different. Like you can, maybe you can't see. Hang on. Like even the color just looks richer. You can see that the Vietnamese ones are quite dark, and these just have like more earthy tones. So let's give these guys a shot here. Maybe not a huge one. Yeah, that's definitely the one. This is it's just a way. So these taste fine, but they're very kind of one-dimensional. This would be fine for like on your steak or not seasoning, but adding flavor to a dish, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But these have a entirely more complex flavor. I'm really happy with these. Still packs a little bit of a kick. Okay, so one thing we're going to talk real quick about is the difference between seasoning a dish and adding adding pepper. You'll see this at the bottom of every single recipe. Season with salt and pepper to taste. So I agree with the taste part, but you season with salt because salt enhances a dish and makes the dish taste more like itself. It makes chicken taste more like chicken, and it makes whatever you're making, a sauce, it adds a depth to the sauce without adding flavor. Unless you put too much salt in it, and then it tastes salty. I get it. But pepper isn't like that. Pepper adds flavor to a dish. You're such a... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just catching by the comments. So a lot of it comes down to personal taste. I think it would be like if pepper's a feature ingredient, then the cam pots are definitely worth it. I think that, for the pepper mill at the table, I would probably just, the Vietnamese ones would be great. Telecherries would be great. This is what you would put in your pepper mill to grind over a finished plate of pasta or something, or a steak or whatever you're adding flavor to. If pepper's one of your few ingredients, I really think this is going to add a lot to the finished dish. And so, now I'm off track. Oh yeah, we're talking about seasoning. So pepper adds flavor to a dish. It adds a peppery flavor to your dish. So there's a big difference between using salt and pepper, even though every recipe at the end says season with salt and pepper to taste. You don't season with pepper. You add flavor to your dish. So that's kind of a rant, isn't it? But it's kind of the way I feel about it. So we've got cheese, pasta, and pepper. So I'm going to stick with the cam pots here. By the way, I got these in Toronto at the Spice Trader and the Olive Tree, which is on King West. It's the only place I've seen. You can order them from Amazon, but they're significantly more expensive on Amazon. I mean, they're not cheap even at the store. But I mean, this is a good supply. Most people aren't going to go through this much pepper in very quickly. So even though it's a little expensive, I think it's worth it. Covered all the ingredients. So any questions so far on ingredients? Okay. So one of the things, and you probably, I don't know if you've ever seen this dish completed, but one of the things that's amazing about this dish and why I love this technique is, and you'll see as we do it, is you get a pasta dish with this incredible, wonderful, creamy, silky sauce. And looking at what we have here, you got to wonder, how does that happen? There's no olive oil here. There's no cream. There's no anything, or no butter. How are we going to end up with a silky, smooth, creamy sauce? No eggs. I mean, nothing. And the way it happens is, and we're going to break some of the rules for cooking pasta, by the way. The way it happens is with the pasta itself. And it's the starch in the pasta. And the reason it's so important to have a really good quality pasta is supermarket store-bought pasta will not have enough starch in it to give you the sauce that you want. So it's really important to spend the extra $1 or $2 and get a good quality pasta. So the other thing we're going to do, and I'm going to start cooking this soon actually, is let's grind up some pepper actually. So I had the giant pepper mill before, and I didn't like it, and then it kind of got moldy, so I threw it out. But I normally, for grinding pepper, I normally use a mortar and pestle anyway. So we're just gonna crack some of this up, and that's not going to be nearly enough. I'm gonna crack some more up. A mortar and pestle to me is just absolutely the best way to grind and prepare pepper. Paul would laugh. I don't know if I ever showed him the picture, but when I used to have to grind a lot of pepper, I'd take the top off and then put the little extension into the chuck of my drill, and just run the drill in the pepper grinder. Oh, got a little bit more here. And I still feel that's not enough pepper. Give me a sec, guys. Hope that isn't too loud for you guys. As always. I think we're good now. Let's tip this out and I can see actually how much I have here. Yep. So there you go. Some very, very freshy. Oh, and it's just smells so good. It's just incredible. Got to figure out a way to get the smell-o-vision going here. Okay, so then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to start cooking. So I'm going to leave the camera the way it is. So normally when you cook pasta, you would do it in a big, giant pot of boiling water, and you would not want that. Sorry, this is very hot water, which I heated earlier. You would not want that water to come off the boil because it messes with your cooking time for the pasta. However, the other way to cook, and we don't want to do that because we want the starches from the pasta. We want a really starchy water. So if I threw the pasta in a giant pot of water, I'm not going to have enough starch to make the sauce the consistency. Yes, the 3D. Remember that, Paul, from the hell was it? Was it Saturday Night Live or something? They're like, anyway, sorry, memory lane. I only want enough water to just cook the pasta because I want a really starchy water because I'm going to take about a cup of it off to make the sauce. Here it is. So I'm just going to wait till this comes to a boil. That's a good question. They last a long time. They're cheap as hell. Like, I get these in some Asian market. It's like $7 for a 4-pack, and they last a very long time. I don't run them all the way down because I don't ever want to run out on stream, even though I have a couple times. But I also have like a kitchen torch that fits on the. Do I have an extra cartridge? Yeah. So when they get really low, like this one's almost empty, and I just convert it to like kitchen torch duty, and I use this for like creme brulee and maybe putting a sear on steaks and lighting the barbecue out front. So anyway, that's what I do with the extra cartridges. So we're going to be careful with this pasta because I don't know if you were watching, this is the pasta I used for another dish, and I followed the timing on. I had never used it before, and I followed the timing on the package, and I undercooked it horribly, and it was a disaster. Well, it wasn't a disaster, but so you can actually, and I'm not going to do it here. So this is kind of a blend between the traditional method and I guess my own method for doing this. You can cook pasta like risotto. You can I wouldn't do it with like long strand pasta, but if you were cooking like shells or macaroni or rotini, you can actually like toast it in oil, the same way you would start with the rice or butter, and then add little bits of water at a time, and just keep adding water and stirring your pasta until it absorbs all the water and your pasta's cooked. So I'm going to set a timer here. Now, I know it won't be done in that much time, so we have a little bit of time to chat while this cooks up. And what I want to do is I want to allow some of this to boil away so that I can. I'm going to take about I won't need a cup. I'll probably take about half a cup off. Oh, you know what we can talk about? Okay, so this is these three ingredients makes Cacio E Pepe. I mean cheese and pepper. It's right. It's all in the name. However, as a foundation dish, if you add, you could add guanciale, but even if you just add bacon, if you add bacon to this dish, you get pasta alla gricia, which is admittedly not that famous a dish, but it's still really good. And then if you take that dish and add tomatoes, you have amatriciana, or if instead of tomatoes you have eggs, you have carbonara. So this is like a 5-for-1 pasta addition technique, depending on what you add to it after this. Now we're going to do just the 3 ingredients. Any questions so far? This is super simple, and it's an incredibly satisfying dish to make. Yeah, these are nowhere even close to cooked. By the way, if you're out there watching, and I know a few people are, and you haven't signed into YouTube, so you can't subscribe, think about doing that. It allows you access to the chat. You get to subscribe to the channel. You get notifications when I start to stream. So yeah, that's just, it's a little more interactive if people can chat. As I said, this is just going to take a little bit of time here. But you can see how starchy the water's getting already. And you can do this like in any, big frying pan like this, as long as it fits your noodles. Or if you buy like, you could do this dish with peachy as well, which typically comes in a nest. So, no, you guys are great. I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way. It's just the chat's interesting, you know, and people get to ask questions, and I get to answer them. But no, you and Paul are fine. Jeez. I'm doing this dish. So at work, where I work, we have a cooking show every month, and I'm doing this whole thing for them next month. Oh, yeah, that's what I forgot to put this on Facebook this time, but I normally put an announcement out on Facebook, but I think I forgot. Getting there, but not quite. Alright, guys, we got 4 minutes. What do you want to talk about? I've covered just about everything I want to say about this dish. Talked about the different kinds of dishes you can make. I'm pretty sure we did carbonara already. Did we do carbonara? No, you definitely don't want a fresh pasta for this because you need the dry pasta to release all its starches as it cooks. This just completely would not work with fresh pasta. My favorite pasta? That's a good question. It's a really good question, actually. I kind of like spaghetti. I kind of like these big spaghetti noodles. Not the store-bought supermarket stuff, but you know, this is if you, I don't know if you can see, but this is still spaghetti, but it's quite a thicker noodle than it normally is. I also like, I mean, you know, I'm a sucker for macaroni and cheese, so I like the macaroni noodle. But at home, because of the pasta cutters I have, I can basically make, I can make spaghetti, I can make fettuccine, and, hey Penny, welcome. We're just getting through this. Did you get everything you needed, all your liquid stuff? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I like the pasta I can make at home. So for me, that's spaghetti linguine, and with the new extruder, I can make macaroni and rotini, and I actually don't know what the little spirals are called, the twisty ones. I want to say fusilli, but I might be wrong. But yeah, I like the noodles you can make at home. And the other thing I did want to talk about one other thing. Because I talk about Italian cooking, how important, because there's only just a few ingredients, and how important it is to have absolutely the best quality fresh ingredients, because it makes the dish really pop. But that's true of any cuisine. You know, we did, what did we do last week? We did chow mein last week. And chow mein has a ton of ingredients, and it's stirred, and there's a sauce, and there's a lot going on, and you would think well, what difference does it make in chow mein? You know, there's so much in there. There's no way, you know, that you're going to be able to taste any of the differences, and that's true if you're ordering, you know, chow mein from Skip the Dishes. But the chow mein last week that we made was just absolutely incredible, and every individual ingredient just popped, and you could taste them. So it doesn't matter if it's a complex dish with a lot of ingredients, it still pays to use, you know, the absolute freshest things you possibly can. Okay, I gotta steal a little bit of this pasta water now. This is about the starch level that I want. I'm gonna just spoon it off here. So this pasta water that I'm taking off here is gonna get spooned into our cheese, including that noodle. Oops. So this is going to become the basis of our sauce. And in the meantime, I got to replace, which is why I have boiling water here. I'm just going to replace that water with some fresh stuff, because you do want to keep these noodles covered here. Oh, we're going to 11 seconds. Okay, I'm going to taste one of these guys and see where we're at. It doesn't look done, and I've been burned by this particular pasta already. No pun intended, because I've probably literally been burned by it too, but you know what I mean. I mean like the metaphor. Oh shit. I mean the metaphorical burn. Hot. Yeah, it's not even close. So this package says like 6 to 8 minutes or something on the package. There's just no way. It's pretty close. That's good, Penny. It's pretty close. I think it's another 2 minutes. So we do want to leave it a little al dente, because when you finish this dish, we're going to stir it in the pan with a little more liquid, a little more sauce, and that'll finish the pasta off. But we are just not there yet. Strainer. So, and I said, there's a couple of different ways. So the very classic presentation of the dish, we would have boiled the noodles and drained them, and like cooked them until they were al dente. Oh God, I keep doing that. Liz is going to kill me. Al dente, and then you would throw them back in the pan with a little bit more water and the pasta water and the cheese, and you would finish it that way. That's a tricky technique to do. It's kind of easy to screw it up. So this technique that we're doing here, it's a little bit of a compromise from the classic method. If you have an Italian heritage, your Nonna is probably going to scream if you do it this way. But this is just a little more approachable, a little easier, and less prone to error. All right, let's see where we're at here. Ooh, I think we're getting closer. I can tell just by the feel of it. Almost. Yeah, we're so close. No, we're not. It's still pretty crunchy. This stuff's killing me. Seriously though, almost there. Kind of hot. There we go. Smaller piece. You guys probably can't see it. No, you definitely can't. But there is like just a little bit of a uncooked kernel in there. It's kind of what we want. Nope. You want to go just a little bit more. Sorry to make you guys wait, but you just can't rush this kind of thing. Yeah, I know it did. Maybe another 30 seconds. Picky stuff, this stuff. By the way, speaking of peppercorns, if you have a Costco membership, Costco advertises a big thing of peppercorns, which I say are Telecherry peppercorns. They are not. And they don't taste very good at all. So normally I'm a big fan of Costco because I feel like they really source high quality ingredients, and the peppercorns that they used to put in their container were Telecherry, but they're no longer. So I can't really recommend them anymore. Which is too bad, because they were so cheap. Okay, this is done, I can tell. Okay, so here we go. Let me just drain this real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. So now, you can go off and out of the way for a sec. Let's do our sauce. So what we have here is cheese, obviously. This is going to go into the bowl, the whisk, and we are going to hope that I saved enough pasta water for Pete's sake. And we kind of just want to, you want to whip this to like, almost like a mayonnaise consistency. Not quite there yet. And you can, I don't know what you guys can see, but it's actually forming like this nice, smooth, glossy sauce. And this is just, the starch in the pasta acts as an emulsifier so that your cheese blends. Almost there. Perfect. Love it. Looks great. Okay. So now, let's get some noodles in here. See what we're up to. Give this a good toss here. Oh, I hope you guys can see this. But this is just magic. This is just cheese and pasta water. And now we're going to put in our pepper to taste. And I'm going to, you know, I like a fair bit of pepper in this dish. So I'm going to top it with pepper. You really want to be able to see it, you know, in the dish. Wow, looks good. Just a tiny bit more. Okay, let me get this onto a plate and we'll have a what kind of taste test. Plates are definitely hot. Get this in here. Okay, just let me deliver one real quick and I'll be right back. Hot, 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 hot. Okay, so we're back and I'm gonna switch cams here, hang on. So I don't know if you guys, oh, I just switched off the cam. But this is like just incredibly smooth, silky sauce. Let me get it on the other cam. Can we do this? You guys can see just how wonderful this looks. 3 ingredients, guys. So let's see where we're at for taste. Yeah. Could actually, I'm going to sprinkle a little more pepper on mine. This is to my taste. The Comté is amazing. And the spaghetti, once it's properly cooked, is actually quite nice. So, yeah, that's a winner, guys. Okay, so there you go. This is Cacio E Pepe. Very, very, very simple dish to make. Wonderful, fresh tasting. To be honest, Paul, I haven't made this in a long time, so I don't know. I know that the last time I made this dish, it was probably like 2016, 2017, because when I went to the Cooks Illustrated website to look up their version of the recipe, by the way, I really like Cooks Illustrated, but their Cacio E Pepe recipe is terrible. Just don't. But I did notice that I bookmarked it way back in 2017. Comté gets obviously a little more stringy, excuse me, than the pecorino. So the last time I made this, I made it with pecorino. Any good quality sheep's milk cheese will do. Yeah. I think that's a winner, guys. So if you don't, are there any other questions about this? Who's my favorite chef? That's a really good question. I have more than one. I would say I really like Thomas Keller of the French Laundry. And the reason I like Thomas Keller is just because he has such an enormous respect for ingredients and he's very inventive. But I also like Eric Ripert quite a bit. I like Eric Ripert because he had such an incredible career, but he got to a point in his career where he was executive chef and he was running like a bunch of hotels and he just felt really disjointed, really disconnected from his cooking. So he took a sabbatical. He went on tour. Like, he just traveled around the world for about a year. He took an artist friend and I think a poet friend, and the three of them and Chef Roy traveled around the world visiting his friends in various different places. And each time he would get to a location, he'd go to the local market and buy fresh ingredients and make a dish. And he has an incredible book called A Return to Cooking. But I like chefs who talk about their ingredients and why they cook and how they cook. I'm less interested in recipes because, internet's full of recipes. If you're willing to wade through someone's life story, you can find a recipe for anything. And quite frankly, like, not only is it insulting to me to scroll through the person's history and find out, that this was their favorite thing because they ate it in the grandstands when they were 10 at the local baseball game. I don't care. That's not interesting to me. If they were talking about, well, I love this recipe because, I made it once with this really fresh ingredient that I got locally and it made the dish amazing and here's why. That's interesting. So that's what I look for when chefs write and when they talk. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I will say, even on heated plates, this cooled down pretty damn quick. So, I'd have to watch for that next time. I think next time I did this, I would return everything to the pan. I think I should have put everything back in the pan and brought it back up to temperature. It's really good. And maybe it's because I'm talking to you guys, but I don't think I ate this fast enough. So, overall a winner though. Very happy with it. So are there any other questions about really anything? Wow, and we're like under 45 minutes. I mean, obviously this dish is going to go together fast because there just aren't that many ingredients. So, but any particular questions on the ingredients? We use pepper here, pasta. I think we covered just about everything really. And as I said, this technique can be applied to, any pasta dish you want. If you don't want to put a lot of cream in your pasta or a lot of butter or a lot of oil, you can take your cheese and grate it and use the starchy pasta water to make an amazing sauce. So I'm going to hang around for a few minutes and just in case anybody has a question, but that's kind of all I got for you guys tonight. A mellow night, a short night. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I felt about today. And I had an insane day at work. So this one really suited. This one really suited me tonight. Good presentation, a fantastic dish, and this is something anybody can whip up in no time flat. So, the elaborate stuff's really fun too. But, sometimes it's just about putting a really good dish on the table in a reasonable amount of time that tastes great. And as I said, this one for me ticks all the boxes for things I want to do with the stream. Super high quality ingredients. Simple, elegant, very tasty. I'm pretty thrilled with the way this came out. So, anyway, I'm going to hang around for a few. I've still got my Martinez, and if anybody thinks of a question, you can ask. Otherwise, everybody enjoy their evening, and we'll see you next week. I'm just amazed that you get this incredible glossy consistency out of such simple ingredients. All right, guys. No more questions. I'm going to sign off and enjoy the rest of my night as well. So you do the same, and we'll see you next week.